Breaking news. Iran launched a missile attack today on a U.S. military base in Qatar.
Yeah, here's a look at the region. The air base in Qatar is one of several American bases in the Middle East, but this one is right across the Persian Gulf from Iran. We're still gathering reaction to these attacks, but lawmakers on Capitol Hill say safety and security is top of mind.
For here at home and for the tens of thousands of American troops stationed across the Middle East.
But where lawmakers are split is should the U.S. have bombed Iran in the first place?
The Commander-in-Chief has Article 2 responsibilities. They're very serious and important, especially in times like this. I think he used that authority judiciously.
The use of military force, which is offensive in nature, must be approved by the House and the Senate. That's according to the Constitution. It's not optional, Donald. It's not.
For more reaction and the latest from Qatar, we go to Erica Brown in Washington.
Iran launched short and medium-range missiles at the Udeid Air Base in Qatar Monday, the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East. The attack came in retaliation for U.S. strikes on 3 key Iranian nuclear sites. A U.S. defense official says there have been no reports of U.S. casualties.
This is the home of U.S. Central Command. There are a range of critical assets at this base, drones, aircraft, and more.
President Trump visited the U.S. base outside Doha just over a month ago, where he told U.S. troops this.
I will never hesitate to wield American power if it's necessary to defend the United States of America or our partners.
The attack happened just as President Trump was set to meet with his national security team. Diplomatic sources tell CBS News Iran's retaliation was expected and calibrated. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are mostly divided along party lines over President Trump launching the military strikes, but one Republican says Congress needs to vote. On social media, the Republican Thomas Massie of Kentucky wrote under the War Powers Act, the president is required to withdraw from hostilities in Iran within 60 days unless he gets a vote of Congress. Others are standing by the president's decision.
Given the situation that we're looking at right now, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the president and the administration.
Members of Congress are set to be briefed tomorrow on the situation. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Tehran says it launched the same number of missiles on the airbase in Qatar that the U.S. used to strike Iranian targets over the weekend. We're monitoring the latest in the Middle East after Iran launched a retaliatory attack today on a U.S. airbase.
The attack is in response to U.S. strikes on key Iranian nuclear sites over the weekend. President Trump warned Iran that he'd take action if the nation didn't dismantle its nuclear program. Iran refused and the U.S. attacked. Today, Iran responded by launching missiles at the U.S. Air Base in Qatar. That is the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East. Lawmakers are split on if the president is handling this conflict correctly.
I don't think this is an appropriate time for a war powers resolution, and I don't think it's necessary. Listen, for 80 years, presidents of both parties have acted with the same commander-in-chief authority under Article 2. It's all politics. This is not a time for politics.
But we expect them to explain to the American people the basis of the strike. What were the results in terms of actually thwarting Iran's capacity to become a nuclear power? And what are the Trump administration plans to avoid another potentially disastrous war in the Middle East, where thousands of American lives are potentially at risk? What is your plan to avoid another foreign war?
We're told that no one was killed in today's attack, but families on both sides of this conflict have lost everything in some of these airstrikes.
We want to bring you a report today from Jeremy Diamond. He was there as an Israeli man returned to his home following yesterday's attack.
A few hours after those U.S. strikes in Iran, a barrage of Iranian ballistic missiles came raining down on Israel. And this right here is the destruction that was wrought by just one of those ballistic missiles here in Tel Aviv.
More than 20 people were injured in this strike, which sheared off the side of this residential building, laying bare the lives of those who once lived here. As cleanup crews push piles of debris, survivors return to grab what they can. Many still shaken by what they have just survived and all they have lost.
maybe I do need to take some of these things.
Half a block away from where the missile struck, Jeremy Zetland has spent the day picking through the debris of his childhood home.
We used to put the DJ up there and we used to have parties here, our friends.
Moving from one destroyed room to the next, Jeremy has been trying to separate the things that matter from those that don't.
It's just things. It's nothing. This is not important, but it's just wait.
And in that moment, he is reminded of what is.
It's who you are, the people, and so that's what's important. This is not important, but it's just a symbol of how we're holding ourselves to be strong. It's hard.
Jeremy Diamond, CNN, Tel Aviv.